Disclaimer before we get started, I am not a doctor or a medical professional. This podcast is not meant to give medical advice or education, merely entertainment. If you have a medical question, please ask your doctor. Thank you. Hi guys, welcome to Crocheting Through Medical History. I am Maria, here to crochet and talk about medical history. It has been a good moment since I've done this. So much so that I couldn't even remember how to set up my recording station. So you get my subpar webcam video footage today if you are watching this, because there's too many wires and I don't remember how to hook up a better camera. So, oops. I'll try to figure that one out before next time. We have one friend, Ponyo, here. Ponyo! Alright. We'll see if Gimli makes an appearance. He is hopping around somewhere downstairs. I have a downstairs. I'm not downstairs. I have a downstairs now. New house. Not that new anymore, but new since I've last seen you. So this is my craft guest room. It's a bed. If you need a place to sleep, please don't come to my house. This is not going well, so why don't we jump into it? Oh, I am making... Does this look familiar? I think you bought this yarn with me. I made a video, and I bought this yarn in it when we were visiting Duluth at a yarn store that I cannot remember what it's called, sorry. I started this project a year ago, made probably 20 rows of it, and then put it down for a year. So I'm picking it back up again. We are making a cardigan that will look something like this. Let's see if I remember how to edit. That would be fun. So making that in this nice color. I'll be working on that because hopefully it's simple enough that I can actually crochet and read and talk and think all at the same time. But I make no promises. We will see how it goes. Okay, I'm nervous. Let's get into it, guys. So today we're going to talk about poliomyelitis. I think many moons ago, when I first had the idea for this podcast, I was just like asking people around me, what should I do an episode about? What should I research? And I feel like most of them said polio. A lot of them said polio, because it's kind of like the historical disease, as it were, along with like the bubonic plague and leprosy and all of those things. So I thought, let's do polio. Let's do it. Let's learn about it. I know very little about it, as with everything. So, poliomyelitis, or poliovirus, commonly just called polio, is a viral disease that targets the nervous system, and it can result in total paralysis in mere hours. Historically, polio has most commonly affected children under the age of 5 years old, but any unvaccinated person, regardless of age, can contract the disease. It is spread when infected fecal matter or saliva makes contact with the mouth of another person. This infection is often spread due to unsanitary conditions, leading to contaminated food and water, thus making the most affected population the impoverished communities living in poor communities. Hello? Haha, so large. Okay. Sorry, even bigger. Oh, yeah. That is so large, it hurts my eyes. While often asymptomatic, symptoms of polio can range from minor cold symptoms to permanent paralysis in the arms and legs to death. When symptoms are present, they're most commonly fever, lethargy, nausea, headache, stomach pain, body aches, and pain in the arms and legs, making it difficult to differentiate polio from the common flu and every other disease out there. Almost all infected people can make a full recovery, but more serious outcomes occur if the infection reaches the brain or the muscles used for breathing. For those that recover from the virus, they're only contagious for 6 weeks, although many are discriminated against for much longer due to the disease. The first suspected case of poliovirus may have been as early as 1580 BC, according to art inscribed in an Egyptian slab showing an individual with a withered leg. At the end of the 1780s, the first clinical description of polio was written by British physician Dr. Michael Underwood, stating, quote, debility of the lower extremities, unquote. To this day, paralysis continues to be the most well-known symptom of poliomyelitis, despite the symptom only occurring in about 1% of cases. In Germany in the 1840s, Dr. Jacob von Hein investigated the causes of polio and theorized that the disease could be contagious. The first big outbreak of what is now known as polio was in 1894 when a number of infants in the United States, specifically Vermont, experienced what was then called infantile paralysis. Over the next 50 years, at least 4 more outbreaks occurred in the nation. During these outbreaks, the population took measures to reduce the spread of the disease, including closing of various public gathering places, including schools. That sounds familiar. In the beginning of the 1900s, Dr. Ivar Wickham, a pediatrician in Sweden, categorized the 3 different types of polio: abortive, non-paralytic, and paralytic. The abortive strain is the mildest of the 3, with symptoms that most closely resembles those of the common cold: fever, decreased appetite, malaise, nausea, vomiting, constipation, and abdominal pain. The non-paralytic strain presents more severe nausea and vomiting, headaches, muscle pain in the limbs, neck and trunk, and stiffness of the neck and spine. These symptoms may seem to resolve for a short period of time, but will soon return. The rarest and most serious strain, paralytic, may exhibit all the signs of the abortive and non-paralytic strains, plus signs that the virus has reached the central nervous system: muscle weakness, wasting, and paralysis, weak breathing and coughing, difficulty swallowing, severe constipation, hoarse voice, and blotchy skin. The year after Dr. Wickham's findings, Karl Landsteiner and Erwin Popper of Austria theorized that polio may be a viral infection. In New York in 1916, a polio epidemic expanded the research attempts to discover the cause of the disease. This outbreak became the largest of the time, with over 27,000 cases and 7,000 deaths. The most well-known treatment for poliomyelitis, the iron lung, was invented by Philip Drinker and Louis Agassiz of Harvard University in 1928. The airtight metal tube attached to a set of bellows provided negative pressure for the patient to more easily expand their lungs and breathe productively despite their weakened chest muscles. Within a few years, John Haven Emerson improved the design to allow the bed to slide in and out of the cabinet, as well as added ports to access the patient without affecting the internal pressure. 1 row done. In the early 1830s, Sir Macfarlane Burnet and Dr. John McNamara identified the 3 different strains of wild poliovirus while attempting to produce a prevention for the disease. Later in the decade, the USA started the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, now known as the March of Dimes, which fundraised to support polio research. The foundation was founded by Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who was paralyzed by the disease when he was 39 years old. In 1939, Dr. Albert Sabin discovered that poliomyelitis was not a respiratory virus as it had been assumed, but an enteric virus living in the intestine, making it most contagious via fecal-oral route. The end of the 40s brought John Enders, Thomas Weller, and Frederick Robbins growing live poliovirus cells, for which they later received a Nobel Prize, quote, for their discovery of the ability of poliomyelitis viruses to grow in cultures of various types of tissue, end quote. This discovery allowed for the production of both live and inactivated, or killed, polio vaccines. An injectable vaccination for polio was introduced in the 1950s by Dr. Jonas Salk. Before being used on the general public, 1 million elementary-aged children, called the Polio Pioneers, became test subjects for the vaccination. The next year, the vaccine was determined to be both safe and effective, and soon became widely available, resulting in the spread of the disease being radically decreased to the point of practical elimination in the countries that employed the vaccine. In the beginning of the 60s, Dr. Albert Sabin of the University of Pittsburgh developed an oral vaccination against polio, which became the standard for the vaccine due to its more efficient administration and more effective immunization. With this new method of delivery, it became commonplace for the vaccine to be administered to children on a lump of sugar, inspiring the Sherman Brothers lyrics from Mary Poppins, quote, "Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down," unquote. Unlike previous creators of poliomyelitis immunizations, Sabin made no attempt to patent his invention, stating that, quote, "It's my gift to all the world's children," unquote. Starting in the 1970s, after the discovery that polio was an up-and-coming disease in many countries, the polio vaccination became routine in many countries. At the end of the 1980s, the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, or GPEI, was introduced by Rotary International. At this time, polio paralyzed over 1,000 children around the world every day. The Global Polio Laboratory Network was formed in 1990 to research the presence of different poliovirus types in various countries, including the 3 types of wild poliovirus and vaccine-derived poliovirus. The next year brought the last case of wild poliovirus in the Americas, 3-year-old Luis Fermin Tenorio of northern Peru. With the help of Dr. Roger Zapata, Luis recovered from polio and, as of 2018, was still living in Picanaki, Peru, though his lasting paralysis continues to cause pain and altered gait and discrimination. Through the 90s, polio vaccination spread worldwide and began to make the disease obsolete, one country at a time. By the end of the 20th century, wild poliovirus type 2 was eradicated worldwide. In 2003, northern Nigeria discontinued polio vaccine campaigns due to rumors that the vaccine may be unsafe. Unfortunately, a new outbreak occurred soon after. By 2006, only 4 countries were still affected by polio: Afghanistan, India, Nigeria, and Pakistan, with the successful end of outbreaks in Yemen and Indonesia. By the end of 2012, the last case of wild poliovirus type 3 was cured in Nigeria. In 2020, wild poliovirus type 3 was eradicated internationally. As of May 2024, the only countries that are still infected by poliovirus, specifically wild poliovirus type 1, are Pakistan and Afghanistan. Despite the disease's persistence in these countries, the World Health Assembly believes that polio may someday be completely eradicated. Thank you to my resources: the World Health Organization, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Global Polio Eradication Initiative, National Park Service, Our World United to End Polio, Boston Children's Hospital, the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research, the Nobel Prize, PubMed, and Salk Institute for Biological Studies. Please see the show notes for a full list of my resources. And with that, thank you for joining me on this episode of Crocheting Through Medical History. It's very good feedback, and I appreciate anyone who is listening, whether you're new or old. If you have any topic ideas, let me know. Love to hear from you. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Ravelry at Maria Makes Makes. This episode will probably be short and sweet, but still got 2 rows done. So, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye!